my name is Debbie Reynolds. They call me the Data Diva. Today I want to talk about data privacy, digital fingerprinting, and probabilistic attribution. I have to say that fast. So digital fingerprinting, well, let me back up. Many of the tech companies, because of these new data privacy regulations that are happening around the world, are trying to find ways to anonymize in some way individuals when they're either on the internet or when they're using mobile phones. But today we're going to talk about mostly advertising as it relates to a mobile phone or smartphone user. So Apple has taken a very bold step with their iOS 14 updates where they're trying to give more transparency to consumers and individuals who use their products by making sure that apps that go into the App Store are doing specific things, like Apple is forcing app developers to fill out a nutrition label that gives high-level information about privacy, having them ask for consent before Apple or before they're able to get more detailed information about an individual. And one thing that Apple is doing is trying to stop marketing companies or apps to do things that's called like digital fingerprinting. So in the past, when people were advertising, for example, on Apple or Apple using apps, they will use a ID for advertising, the IDFA for Apple, and this particular identifier would identify a person uniquely 100%. So what Apple is doing is rolling back the access to that unless marketers get express consent from an individual to be able to give them advertising. So basically, individuals have to opt in to that level of granularity of knowing about them. But if an individual doesn't opt in, the marketer will get less granular information. So for example, let's say if a marketer was doing a campaign for a particular product or something, in the past they may have known exactly, these 10 people, here are the exact devices and this is what they bought. Now what's going to happen is if an individual doesn't consent, they're going to get maybe statistics or information to say, maybe 100 people out of this campaign bought your product. So then you could, know in some ways if your campaign was successful. The issue with digital fingerprinting, and this is one thing that Apple is doing now, which is they're either kicking people out of the App Store or they're not letting companies do app updates or put new apps in the App Store that they think is trying to do fingerprinting. So fingerprinting is the act of using a lot of details about a person without kind of that Apple identifier to identify the person. So fingerprinting is thought to be about 98% accurate. So Apple is really cracking down on apps going into the App Store and just doing fingerprinting. And the reason why they're doing this is because with fingerprinting, you don't necessarily need the person's consent. So that's what Apple wants to stop. They want people to be able to consent when they get these ads or things like that. Probabilistic attribution is the estimation of probability that this person is who you think that they are. They say the probabilistic attribution is about 80% accurate, still using information that they think about a person, but then they score it in terms of how probable they think it is. So obviously those results aren't as accurate. I think obviously marketers want the most accurate and timely information, so it's really going to be incumbent upon them to get the trust of individuals so that they could get individuals to opt in to particular advertising and they would not have to resort to anything like fingerprinting or using probabilistic attribution. That's it. Thank you.